Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Listen here, this is a fact of life. I be rapping like Nat Turner came back to life. Grab Donald Trump by the pussy, he ain't acting right. I never run from a conflict, I be glad to fight. It's a very cold world that we living in. Somebody please tell Elizabeth you're not an Indian. You just trying to con them people to get the benefit. Just another immigrant stealing from the Indians. That's some punk ass shit and that's too lame. Now we finna step over to Andrew Yang. And you a sucker, you could never speak for black folks. Fake ass candidates trying to get the black vote. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You know your boy be high off sativa. Kamala wasn't popping, so we said bye, Felicia. She ain't had a right policy. We ain't trying to meet her. Y'all can take Biden too. Bye, we don't need her. We don't need Roland Martin or that coon Al Sharpton. Didn't need Cory Booker from the start, man. I don't fuck with police and no snitch. You know I'm coming with the heat when I spit it. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. If you ever go to court and this is your luck, try not to get fucked by Benjamin Crump. I know it's hard. You and Go is hard. But who the fuck is Amy Cloak? Put her picture up on the bullseye and start throwing darts. People cut our organs out our bodies, that's a stolen heart. They can't save us from the flood like Noah's Ark. Black lives always matter, we finna go for ours. So then we savages, we don't need to pot the piss. Mike Bloomberg is sub thick with that stop and frisk, bitch. You ain't speaking for us, we don't know you. Bernie Sanders, they get your funky ass on too. The Democrats don't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. Republicans can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. A bitch ass nigga can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me. You coon ass niggas can't speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me.
I'm talking about Shannon going crazy. People going crazy in these motherfuckers. Run that shit back, man.
But it means nothing. Nothing about a woman all day. Man made the car. Carry the heavy load. Man made the electrolyte to take us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water like the 7-millimeter. Man thinks about a little bit of baby girl and a baby boy. Make them happy because man makes them strong. But after man make everything we can, do you know that man makes money? To buy from other men. This is a man's world.
Grand Risings. Thank you for tuning in to season 3, episode 43, part 3 of the Frontline Black News. We are running extremely late, so that's why we're on this late. Because we have some unfinished business to take care of in from part 2. So we will be discussing several things. But first, Lady J has something she wanted to say. Go ahead, Lady J.
Oh man, it's my fault. So as usual, it's my fault. You got comments. My fault. I came back from the cardiologist. I was really sick, and I have no body heat, so I'm a heat thief intentionally. So we did city council, and Jesse was already nodded off because I was kicking my own door so he could let me in. He's in the back. I was like, yeah. And the motherfucker's looking at me. I was like, what? But I came in and changed my clothes and everything. It was like put my regular clothes on. Now we was gonna do Frontline Black News at 10 like usual. We got done early. What, like 7?
Yeah, 7.
So I was gonna be able to get a nap.
It's like right before 8 o'clock.
I asked just to lay down with me, man. You can tell we worked really hard because we overslept. Didn't wake up till midnight.
Yeah, it was after midnight. But yeah.
So it was my fault. It's really my fault. And then we have a whole bunch of shit we gotta do in the morning. But it was my fault. And Jesse can't live without doing his show. So I was like, man, fuck this show. We can just go to bed. But no, here we are. So we're already late. It's my fault. And I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah, thank y'all for staying up late.
We try to call him. This is gonna be a Shabaka list show. He's here present in spirit. We talked to him a little bit right before. I
did send him the link, so he might get on.
He might, but he's more likely going to go to bed because he said he was going to sleep. Just to take the ring camera off your pretty self. He got all the light on him, and then he got the big lights on, and then we could have got murked by my brother. He in the front room. He was listening to me chopping up with Shabaka for 15 fucking whole minutes, and then talking to my sister for another 10 minutes about Jesse right in front of him. So then here he comes popping around the corner all quiet in his cruising little shoes and shit. And he could have killed us. He could have been killed right back there. I've thoroughly come to the decision that he needs little bells on his shoes. And we need bells all over the house. Like he needs to be treated like a cat. Like an actual cat. He pulling a Karen Grant regular situation. Man, I didn't like that shit at all. So I was like, my heart jumped like 8 feet in my chest. It was like out and back in, and looked at him like, you could have killed us. He said, how is that? I could have killed you 20 minutes ago. And I was like, yeah, damn him. He need bells on his titties, man. He real life bells on his Nikes. Like, I don't give a fuck what he says. I'm like, you gonna be asleep and sleeping on the couch and shit under his little blankets, and I'm gonna fucking put bells on his shoes. And you gonna take them right off in the car. You kick your shoes off and drive home. Hey, bells or laser tripwire or something. That motherfucker is just too slick, man. He gets it from our house when we growing up. Yeah, he's now got me looking at the door and shit all freaked out. Yeah, so we're gonna have a good show. It's the last of the Frontline Black News, and it's my fault, so I'm pushing everything back because I have a new show starting today, and you're all gonna like it. We're gonna practice a little bit. It's 2 women. It's a women's show. But we're gonna talk about a lot of shit. So starts today. Probably sometime like later. Probably gonna start later.
We got Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced.
Yeah, we got Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. And tonight is a call-in show. There's gonna be nothing but fucking blackness, Panthers, and us cussing out white folk.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good ass show. So call in tonight on Blog Talk or StreamYard. Whatever. It's gonna be a good ass show. All the way around. And let's get to it. I just want to say hi to everybody, and just go off camera so I can get back in my little nest right here.
Yeah.
I really sick because I need a second opinion. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna get the show started. Go ahead, Jesse.
All right, so thank y'all for tuning in to Season 3, Episode 43, Part 3 of the Frontline Black News. I'm your host, Shannon Crewman, joined with other host, Lady Che, who just did an awesome speech. And we had topics to discuss that we didn't get to in Part 2, and that was Jason Whitlock criticizes Shannon Sharpe for Ghetto Stunt used to advance career. Marlon Wayans is mad at black people for complaining about black actors wearing dresses. Record high homelessness in America amidst nationwide rent surge. The Denver City Council meeting that took place last night. Unhoused Neighbor News and our Unhoused Neighbor Sweeps. Okay, twin. All right, so we had several things happen. We're going to start off with Lisa Cabrera. Lisa Cabrera is going to give us an update on punk ass Jason Whitlock. If you recall, last week or week before last, we did a topic on him going at the other coon, Stephen A. Smith, and now he tries to go at Shannon Sharpe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Whitlock is now taking hits at Shannon Sharpe. Now, Shannon Sharpe don't even talk about Jason Whitlock. In fact, when he was talking to Stephen A., he was pretty much telling Stephen A., you weren't worth it. He should just ignore you. And I'm noticing a pattern here. Jason Whitlock goes after black men that are doing better than him. And I have to chalk this up as nothing but jealousy. You know, I'm not a big Stephen A. fan or Shannon Sharpe, but they're doing a hell of a lot better than Jason Whitlock. And I really think this is nothing at the end of the day for Jason, but a bunch of jealousy. These men are where he wish he could be, but he never can be there because Jason is just so unlikable. And they said, nobody likes this guy. Okay. I'm surprised, Jason, they have let you linger out here as long as they did.
Right.
So let's get into this latest attack that Jason definitely have preempted on Shannon Sharpe. So Jason hits out at Shannon Sharpe for Ghetto S he used to get to the top of the profession. Wow. He lists his 30 media beefs, including Pat McAfee, who's also doing better than Jason Whitlock, and Dave Portnoy, who's also doing better than Jason Whitlock. And after reigniting a feud with Stephen A. Smith, who's also doing better than Jason Whitlock. Like I said, y'all, I think Jason's attacks are nothing more than jealousy. All right. So Whitlock and Smith have been locked in a furious dispute over the past month after the former columnist accused the ex-colleague of lying about his recent released memoir. Smith claimed that every black member in the industry had called him to thank him for hitting back at Whitlock during an appearance on Howard Stern's radio show. But Whitlocc claimed on his Fearless podcast Thursday that Smith wasn't unique and that he had beef with the mainstream media in general. Yeah. And the last big thing on Jason, you know, he was getting all these adult ads when he went out on ESPN because it was based on his search. So, you know, Jason is a dirty old man. And then he's trying to blame ESPN for adult ads that pop up. Well, that's because you're looking at a lot of adult material online and doing a lot of adult searches, Jason. You are definitely unbettable. So Stephen A. and the internet and a lot of these talkers want to pretend that Jason Whitlock, he just blast off into all of these black media people and he got a war and a feud with black media, he said, beginning his lengthy rant. So what I want to show you is I had to put them together, a big graphic of all the different people in the media that I've had beef with, because we've heard Stephen A. Smith, every black member of the media has called me and thanked me for ripping Jason Whitlock. They probably did. They probably did, Jason. I mean, I don't come across that many people. Yeah, you do have some fans, but Stephen A. and
they should know this.
Shannon Sharpe, they got a bigger fan base than you. They do. They got a way bigger fan base than you. And I think because, you know, you did get fired. I don't believe the black media fired you from your last job. And people are just not feeling you, Jason, and you don't get it. You know that maybe that's true, but it's not in any way, shape, or form a reflection of me singling out black people in the media for criticism. It is actually. It is. And then the way you went after Deion Sanders, too,
that was
it was just way over the top. So among Jason Whitlock's targets, we know was Stephen A. and now Shannon Sharpe, Pat McAfee, Mina Kims, and Dave Portnoy. And he went on to details a root of his beef with Shannon Sharpe, who features on Smith's First Take following his split from Skip Bayless and Undisputed last year. And you know what, y'all? Skip Bayless and Undisputed is doing terrible. See, they never should have let Shannon Sharpe go. And it just goes to show you, Shannon was carrying that show.
Yep.
He really was. People are not feeling Skip Bayless like that. They're not. Shannon Sharpe carried that show. And it has not been the same since he left. In fact, ESPN's ratings have gone up since Shannon Sharpe been over there. And FS1, they can't get their ratings up at all. And Skip Bayless now got a whole panel of people, and it's not helping in drawing more people to FS1. And they made a terrible mistake by letting Shannon walk away. Mm-hmm. See, when you have talent like that, and you got someone with that kind of personality that can draw people in, you don't let them go. Right. But you chose dried up Skip Bayless over Sharpe, and you're paying the price for that. So Whitlocc goes on to say, I really don't hate Shannon Sharpe. I just don't like the game he played to get to the top of the profession. Well, Jason, you don't have to like anything about Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe ain't on your payroll. You're not paying his salary. You didn't hire him. You didn't do none of that stuff. So how he makes it to the top, So what? I don't think anybody is complaining about that other than you. And it's because you can't gain any traction in the industry. And I called him out on it. Wow. The do-rag, the liquor, the weed, the ghetto S. I just call him out on it. I see what you're doing. Everyone needs to understand that is what you have to do to reach the top. Well, Jason, he at least are sitting, especially his club Shay Shay, and he's talking to different personalities and celebrities and athletes. And so what? He's doing things that you wish you could do. That's what it is. He's doing what you wish you could do. So Smith discussed their fallout further during an appearance on radio show host Howard Stern, Sirius XM show this week, admitting that he even warned his pastor about the rant he was about to unleash on Whitlocc. And of course, Whitlocc fired back, but it was very weak. So Whitlocc fired back at Smith, in which he described him as an N-word wrangler. Okay, that's corny, Jason. That's corny. That's cornball stuff, okay? All right. So he's an overseer. He's there to try to reinforce Black men. Follow me, follow my lead, follow the Democratic Party talking points. There's a major concern about what's going to happen with the Black vote. Yeah, the worst thing you can do is follow somebody like Jason Whitlock on that kind of advice. When it comes down to politics, I don't think anybody should be influenced by celebrities at all.
Yeah.
So he gets all into that. And Stephen A is there to convince the average Black man, hey, this is a good thing. Go along to get along. Actually, that's what you do, Jason, especially with them folks. That's why you always side with them, because you're trying to keep that paycheck. You're trying to keep a paycheck. That's why you've been out here acting like a butter biscuit N-word all this time. So Jason Whitlock also doubled down on his claim that Smith is lying about a number of stories in his memoir, most notably his days as a basketball player for Winston-Salem State College. And you know what, Jason? I don't know anybody that cares about what Stephen A. did decades back when he played basketball. You keep raising things that nobody cares about. That's why you're not gaining any traction on it. So while also hitting out at Stern, telling him that he doesn't know who he is, the controversial conservative commentator said, "Stop it, Howard. You almost made Stephen A. sound a tiny bit honest, but that can't be done. It's now the third time he's talked about me, saying, I'll never mention him again. I'll never talk about him again. Well, you're talking about me again, Stephen A., when you went on your little childish tirade, cursing tirade, and never answered any of the legitimate questions that I raised. You said then you'd never talk about me, and then you turned around the next day and said you thought I was done talking about him, and now you're on Howard Stern's show talking about me. Stephen A., there's a lot of cliche jokes about how do you know something's lying? Their lips are moving. It's written for Stephen A. Smith." So that's what Jason Whitlock said. You know what? I think Jason is literally going to cancel himself. I really do. Before it's all said and done, nobody's going to cancel Jason. Jason is going to cancel himself. So he goes on to say at one point, Stephen A starts rattling off, ask this person, ask that person about his book. And he goes on to say, well, why do I got to ask all of these different people? Why can't I ask you? Why can't you answer the question? Why can't you explain why you would be on ESPN television? I played one game, then you would 6 or 7 months later go on your podcast and said, I've never played in a game. And why the stat sheet list of Stephen Smith playing 9 or 10 games? Why can't you answer the question? Why do you need to go and ask your sister or teammates or friends? This seems like a really simple question for you to answer. He then added, just provide a few receipts and this all goes away. Well, who would want to? Would y'all provide a receipt to Jason Whitlock?
Hell no.
You know, Jason, you are not at the level of a Stephen A or Shannon Sharpe. They really don't have to show you anything. And people keep asking, well, why is it important? So what he exaggerates. So what he exaggerates. Because the dude lies about everything or appears to virtually every story is just incredible. Yeah, but Jason, you lie about a lot of stuff. And you know what? You're not going to gain traction because you have said too many disparaging things about the community you come from. And that's why it's going to be very hard for you with these beefs that you got going on to get anyone on your side. You have been dragging melanated people for years and you're still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I noticed the pattern. All of the people you go on attack against are all doing better than you out here. I chalk it up as a bunch of jealousy. They got the career and you got the career that, you are not happy with. So you think you can gain notoriety by talking up on people that outweigh you in sports commentary. I'm just saying. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next.
Send me a link, cuz, so I can send it to Brosia.
Send what link?
The link to the
God, no, cuz we're never gonna
just
get to
send me
the
the
show.
goddamn link, Jesse. She just want to see the show. Just can you send the link?
The link to the show.
Yes. Don't worry. She knows she don't like you.
That's very obvious.
My sister.
All right. While I'm doing this, what are your thoughts on
About
this?
what? This is the longest motherfucking clip in history.
It was 16 minutes, guys. Come on.
Good Lord. What was it about?
Oh my God, she wasn't paying no attention. So Jason Whitlock is trying to go at Stephen. First he was going at Stephen A. Smith. Now he's going at Shannon Sharpe.
Then I lost interest because it was more than fucking 5 minutes long. I would say, fucking Jason Whitlock anyway.
Exactly.
Right? Stephen A. Smith, all them motherfuckers. Whack. Been whack. And none of it is important to me. Right?
Right.
Right.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
Okay, the awkward silence. Yeah. So to hell with Jason Whitlock. He's trying to stay relevant. He thinks he's gonna stay relevant by going at other Black people that are in media, sports media. So he's just trying to stay relevant. He's never been relevant though. He's just a Republican shield, and that's all he's ever gonna be. He's just gonna be a bootlick for the Republicans. So, ain't nobody taking you serious, Jason Whitlock. You're an obvious joke, and you're trying to gain some fame and notoriety by trying to go at another coon, Stephen A. Smith, and Shannon Sharpe. Not saying Shannon Sharpe's a coon, but he does love white women. So that's all I have to say on that. So the next topic is Marlon Wayans is upset that the youngest Wayans brother is upset that Black people are upset with or complaining about Black men wearing Black actors at wearing dresses. Definitely gotta fast forward.
On that note, shalom, family. It's good to see you all. Oh, I got called a racist. Oh, that last live stream you did was racist. No, it wasn't racist. It's not racist when we talk about our population size and being lied to about our population. No, that ain't racist because those lies did not come from us. And as people that have been oppressed, we got every right to talk about our oppression when we're good and ready. Okay,
Right,
all that mess didn't come from us. You need to check your own people, not us.
That's right, Lisa.
So on that note, let's get to this live stream. Let's get to it. You know I ain't worried about that, y'all. You know, if they need to be the center of attention, they're gonna have to go elsewhere for that. So let's get to it. So recently, let me share my screen here. Okay, here we go. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. All right, wonderful. So recently there was a story, y'all, that came out, and Marlon Wayans was upset with Black people for complaining about Black actors wearing dresses. Well, to me, that is a problem.
Right.
When you see Black actors doing it more than anyone else, then yeah, I see that as a problem.
Right.
You know, so he may not like it, but he's out there trying to make money, so he can push all of the fact that a man is in a dress. He can push that all aside because, you know, let's face it, he's doing it for money. All right. So so let me stop that right here. I don't
the best light ever.
Want that. I don't want it. Okay, let me go back. So let's talk about this, y'all. Let's talk about it. So he got into a heated exchange about what Cat Williams, that's where this all came from. It came from Cat Williams talking on Club Shay Shay about putting a dress on and how Black actors are always approached about putting a dress on. Well, he felt some kind of way. he doesn't feel that this is a problem, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't see it as a problem. You know, he sees it as part of his job as an actor. Well, in my opinion, that's problematic because you see more demands for a Black actor to put a dress on than you do a white actor. You don't see that many. You might see some movies, Tootsie and stuff like that, but you see way more Black men doing it. And you can even see it in the picture in the backdrop. There are way more movie scenes with Black men in dresses, let's be real, than any other race. And, you know, everybody is not okay with that. Some people are, and some people are not. But in my opinion, they do it to emasculate the Black actors. You know, it's like a form of buck breaking that they have to go through if they want more acting jobs. This is, you're going to put this dress on. That's what it seems like to me. But he doesn't see it that way. He doesn't see a problem with it. So I'm asking you, what do you think? Do you think it is a problem for Black actors to continue to put dresses on and play these roles? So we know Tyler Perry, we've seen Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence. I remember when I was growing up, there was Flip Wilson. You know, he used to play a character by the name of Geraldine. But see, by the time I saw that stuff, he was already all, I saw it like in the you know, when it was in syndication. And you saw all of those things. So I dropped the link. If anybody want to come up and you want to give your opinion about this, just use the link and come on, and come on the panel. Just limit what you're saying to about 3 to 4 minutes. That's all I ask. Well, Marlon Wayans, like I said, I don't know. I remember when they did White Girls, and it was okay. I was not really that impressed with that movie, to be honest with you. I've seen way better movies. It just was not my thing. But I did see the movie. But after I saw it, it was not one of those things I needed to see again, if you know what I mean. I did not need to see it again. Well, yeah, he says a lot of kind of outlandish things. Yeah, I mean, that's really true. Welcome to Zoria. Welcome to my panel. Shalom. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
All right. Shalom.
Shalom, Akoti. Welcome. Hi, panel. Or I guess I'm the panel. Hi, family.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Shalom.
Shalom to you. Okay, what do you think about Marlon coming down on the Black community because they're critical of seeing all these Black actors in dresses?
I believe
Are you there?
I wrote in the chat that maybe he should create a new genre where
Yeah, it's just the same dude that was in White Girls.
I just did that.
All right, Lady Che, what are your thoughts on this?
First of all, I just don't want to hear anybody else critiquing some other shit about what we already know. Marlon Wayans is the worst one. to talk about anything, right? And why he have to have an opinion anyway? He got his ass in a motherfucking dress. He painted himself white.
Mm-hmm.
In
Him,
a white
him and his brother Sean.
Put his ass in a dress in white girls.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he'd been in a dress a couple of times. So, why is he mad that black people are mad at masculine men in dresses? And this is a dude that claims he's masculine. I just watched the motherfucking 2 movies with Marlon Wayans like last month, where dude was like pretend goosing all over the motherfucking crib, and like really pretend beating it up and shit. So, and he wasn't in no dress. He was just a regular ass motherfucker. So I'm like, why are you looking at the little eyeballs? Cause focus on the show. So I'm like, why is he tripping? It is not a rip for men to be in dresses. Black men especially to be in dresses. It's taken away from masculinity. Look, check it out. I'm a real life girl, a real life woman. I'm not attracted to no man in a dress. He looked like a bitch to me. I'ma treat him like a hoe. I don't like that. It's not cute. It's not sexy. It's not appealing. He should be like, I'm sorry to the black community for not only wearing dresses, but painting himself like a caucasoid. Simple as that. Not to mention David Wayans was in a motherfucking like tutu and all that extra shit on fucking Living Color. So it's ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly. Like, look, check it out. Sisters don't like looking at men in dresses. And we don't like watching movies with men in dresses. We don't like all this feminine emo shit, emotional shit. You got long ass nails and shit. You don't like that. Can you just be a man? Like, we looking at other motherfuckers riding horses and doing other shit, and that we wouldn't look at normally because the masculinity is fading out. You need to apologize to us for forcing us to watch that shit.
Mm-hmm.
He painted himself like a whole fucking Caucasoid female from the Caucasus Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fucked up and ugly, and black people should not be in white face unless they come in albino. And even then you can tell they're black. So it's just stupid. I don't like it. I'm done with that. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, we don't care about you being mad, Marlon Wayans, about black people being upset or complaining about black actors
Can you
wearing
put the
dresses.
link in the thing, please, sir?
I did. I already sent you the link.
No, put the link in the chat, please.
Are you trying to have her jump on here?
Don't matter. Just put the link in the chat, sir. Thank you.
Damn, buddy, I don't know what to do.
Put the link in the chat, sir. Thank you.
For what?
Because I asked you to. Thank you.
It's not that kind of show, though.
Put the link in the chat, Jesse. Thank you. Go for it. Carry on.
I can't carry on because now we're gonna have guests. I don't know why she does the show. It's very frustrating.
Because it's a black show, and black people need to be a part of it.
Black people are a part of it.
Well, then what's the problem with having another black person on it?
Because we got stuff we have to do.
Like you was really worried about that with the 30 minute clip. Just answer the thing and ring the doorbell ring. Open the fucking thing up, please. Thank you. You'll like this, fellas. Trust me, you'll like this. It'll be something to look at. Go, link in the chat.
I did.
Well, start your show, shit.
Sorry, y'all. Lady Che want to be dysfunctional. I hate when she does this stuff.
I ain't dysfunctional. I'm not
Yes, you
sitting right
are.
here. I'm gonna go. Ready, next clip.
Yes, Brandy, stop rushing me. God damn. So, like I said, we don't give a damn about you being upset, Marlon Wayans. Like, this shit is the same shit that Cat Williams was talking about on Shannon Sharpe's podcast beginning of this month about these rituals and how they want to have black men wearing dresses and all this shit. And Dr. Francis Chris Wilson was talking about this shit back in the 70s. Here we are in 2024, and it's in full effect. And now you got mugs like him, who, if I'm not mistaken, has a child that is identifies as transgender or some crazy shit. So,
You do?
yeah, yes.
What?
I had a whole nother clip I was gonna play.
Yeah, go for it. I'm ready. Let's talk more playing.
So just entered the chat.
Okay, we don't just stop the live.
This is Torian talking about it.
Hopefully, it won't be like 50 hours long.
Alt go to. How many people in this chat have seen the movie Mrs. Doubtfire? It should be ones from everybody at this point. I think everybody in this chat is old enough to have seen it when it came out, or they probably saw it maybe after it came out because they were obvious. And that is on Vibe, on this Vibe website, where he actually where it talks about the interview he did. There's also a small clip of the interview as well, where he actually said it, that we're going to play as well after I read the actual article itself. So the article is titled, Marlon Wayans Talks Black Men in Dresses. That conversation is silly. Well, by the time we get through this, through these parts of the stream, or through the stream entirely, we're going to realize how silly he actually is for saying that. Then it's quoted right here where it says, we are labeled by our own people. That is not an artist mindset. So that just lets me know that Marlon is prepared to throw the hammer down on Black people because we have an issue with it. And here's the thing. It's not even just Black men that have an issue with it, although we should definitely have one.
Right.
But Black women also have a problem with it as well. But I'll go into that a little bit later on why that is. It starts off saying Marlon Wayans opened up about Black men wearing dresses in Hollywood. During an interview with Los Angeles Real 92.3, the acclaimed comedian asserted that the topic only appears taboo in the Black community. Wayans used legendary white entertainers like Robin Williams, who put on a dress in Mrs. Doubtfire, as an example of someone celebrated for their brilliance. And how did I know that Marlon Wayans was going to do that? Because anyone I've noticed who defends Black men in a dress or putting on a dress, they automatically revert back to the white actors that had put on a dress. And the first person they mention is usually always Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire. That's like their default go-to. How many people in this chat have seen the movie Mrs. Doubtfire? It should be ones from everybody at this point. I think everybody in this chat is old enough to have seen it when it came out, or they probably saw it maybe after it came out because they were too young. Okay. Everyone knows the plot to the movie Mrs. Doubtfire, so I don't have to really go over the plot. I see why in the movie why he did it though. He didn't just throw on the dress just to want to become just to be a woman. It was an actual story as to why his character did it. And it made sense. But a lot of the roles where there are Black men putting on dresses, especially also down to them having to imitate a Black woman, now you're becoming a caricature.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no purpose for you to do it other than to entertain. Let me not get too far ahead of myself because, again, there's a point that I'm going to be driving home with this. He goes on to say, you talking to a Black man that put on a dress, he said. That conversation, to me, it's silly. It's a negative thing that is only in Black people. Is it though? We have, for some reason, been programmed to look down on the craziest parts about our spirits. We're supposed to embrace our past, our histories, our heroes, different levels of comedy. Marlon, if you want a role where you want to put on the dress, just say that.
Right. Just say you want to be,
because this babbling that you're doing is not healthy. Robin Williams put on a dress and wins an award. His community embraces him, he added. We're labeled by our own people. That is not an artist mindset. When you're an artist, you go out and create art. Now, peep what he just said. Robin Williams put on a dress and won an award. When is the last time a Black man put on a dress and won anything? I can't think of it. I really cannot think of it. When is the last time a Black man put on a dress in a role and won an award? And when I say an award, I'm talking about like a high award. Like, when's the last time a Black man was nominated for an Oscar for putting on a dress? I can point to you a white man that was nominated for an Oscar while wearing a dress, and he won. His name is Jared Leto for the movie Dallas Buyers Club, the movie he did with Matthew McConaughey. He was a drag queen. A drag queen who, if I'm not mistaken, had an STD. Got high acclaim for that role and won an award, won an Oscar.
That's why we call it Hollywood, y'all.
So when's the last time a Black man won an award like that for doing the same thing, even though there are several movies where Black men have won them?
Okay, you're gonna play the clip of him.
So I'm gonna go ahead and play the actual clip right here, and maybe it'll go into more than what's quoted in the article.
What about the Black man putting on a dress conversation? You talking to a Black man that put on a dress? Mm-hmm. I don't know. That conversation to me it's silly because it's a negative thing that is only in Black people. We have, for some reason, been programmed to look down on the craziest parts about our experience, that we're supposed to not embrace our past, not embrace our history, not embrace our heroes, not embrace our different levels of comedy, that we have to be this way. When Robin Williams puts on a dress and is Mrs. Doubtfire, he gets nominated for an Oscar, and white people think it's brilliant. His community embraces him. When Dustin Hoffman puts on a dress in Tootsie and he wins an Oscar, he's labeled brilliant. When Black people put on dresses, all of a sudden we're labeled by our own people like something negative. And I'm like, we did White Chicks. That's a classic movie. Mm-hmm. It's a classic. I don't care what nobody says. It's a classic. Everyone says it.
Now, peep what he just mentioned, and he gave an example of two white actors. Now, the article didn't mention about Dustin Hoffman. Again, another white actor nominated for an Oscar and won. Just like Robin Williams, nominated for an Oscar and won for putting on a dress and playing, portraying as women.
What?
Again, Marlon, I ask, as many Black men who have put on dresses over the years, when have they ever been nominated for an Oscar by playing that role? And then I just gave you another one with Jared Leto. Even though he wasn't portraying to be a woman, he was basically being a drag queen. And like someone else said in the chat, why would you want to win an award for playing that? Now, Marlon Wayans is a phenomenal actor. He's he has a lot of range. I don't know if y'all saw him when he was in Respect, when he played Ted White, which was Aretha Franklin's first husband. Granted, I hated his character because he was abusive as hell, but he played the hell out of that role to the point where I feel like he got overlooked. Him and Jennifer Hudson got overlooked to be nominated for those roles. He played the hell out of that character. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie Requiem for a Dream. He was phenomenal in that too, and that was early on in his. That was years ago. That was a movie I could only watch one time. No, that was a one-time watch for me. It's kind of extreme. When he played on that one episode of Bel Air as Will's father, another great performance by him when he's not being funny. So my thing is this, Marlon, why are you so upset about this when you have bodies of work that ought to be praised? The point is you have enough talent where you don't have to feel like, oh, I have to put on a dress. And the crazy part about it is a lot of the black men in Hollywood who have done it are very talented. And some of their worst roles was when they had on the dress. That's all we're saying.
Because it's a classic. That whole thing about, you put on a dress and you selling out, that is not an artist's mindset. When you're an artist, you go out and you create art.
Oops, I didn't mean to click that. So there it is right there. I mean, we can run down the list of a bunch of talented black male actors who have put on the dress before and we will say that was probably their worst roles.
Yep.
But then we look through their catalog and can pick out 10, assuming their catalog is long enough, of their best roles, and none of them was when they were wearing a dress.
Right.
In 2004, Marlon and Shawn Wayans teamed up for the now certified cult classic White Chicks. The film saw the brothers donning white face and dressing up as women during an FBI investigation. The Wayans wore various women's clothing and accessories in the film, including lipstick, dresses, heels, wigs, and more. The movie was created on a $37 million budget and raked in $13.1 million at the box office. Let's talk about White Chicks right quick. Everybody in here, for the most part, has already seen White Chicks. We already know the plot behind it. But you want to know what's so interesting, though? Whenever we bring up the topic about blackface, here comes PC coming around saying, well, they had the movie White Chicks. We know that that's nothing but fake outrage coming from them because they was up in there cackling, laughing at White Chicks just like the rest of us when the movie came out. Mm-hmm. But I found it interesting, let's hypothetically say they were actually upset about that and they were mad because they felt like, why do we have these black men out here pretending to be white women? Why are they mocking us? Let's hypothetically say they were actually genuinely upset about that. Why isn't Marlon Wayans coming for them? Why doesn't he have the vitriol towards them the way he has it towards us? Mm-hmm. After all, it's just art, right? We're just creating art, right? That's what actors and comedians do, right? Is create. I'm just saying, the energy you have for one, you should have for the other.
Right.
In an interview with Club Shay Shay, Cat Williams recently brought up black male comedians wearing dresses to become successful. He pointed at movies like Big Mama's House and Tyler Perry's Medea's characters as caricatures of black men and emasculating the black community heroes. Ricky Smiley addressed Williams and his claims. He also responded to Williams alleging that if the two appear on screen together, Ricky must don a dress because that's where he is a believable actor. That has nothing to do with my manhood being lessened for trying to play a role and trying to put food on the table for my family, Smiley expressed. So that is that article right there. Now I'm going to break away from Marlon Wayans right quick, and I'm going to go into two instances. Because remember, Marlon Wayans said that putting on a dress or black men putting on a dress is a silly argument from black people to be upset and outraged about. Well, there are some people who did it and they feel like it was about to ruin them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this clip from Entertainment Weekly from the reunion of Family Matters. And listen to what Jaleel White had to say when he first played Myrtle Urkel when he was a teenager.
At the end of that first episode, though, of Myrtle, I went in my dressing room and I cried. And then the producers came to check on me. And my dad told them that I would never do that character again. Because I just wanted to get through the episode because I was too worried. And I knew I had done it so well. I was like, damn, they definitely gonna make fun of me at school for this. I mean, I'm full. I'm like, I had gone there.
What are you doing?
I'm your dream come true.
You're a nightmare. Now go home.
And ironically, when I did go to school after the first time I did it, no one made fun of me. Everybody just thought it was absolutely hysterical. So sometimes it's kind of interesting how we heap these societal concerns on other people that are not even experiencing that at all. Everybody at school just thought it was a great performance.
What's going on in here?
Unfortunately, not much.
So I had too much pride at that point, at that age, to go back then and say, hey, I want to play it again.
To continue chasing after you would be humiliating and unworthy of an Urkel. I, sir, am a lady.
And so it took about 2 to 3 years in between. And I was just kind of bored, just random on a lunch hour. And I went into the writer's room and I said, if you guys want to do Myrtle again, like, I'll do it. And I remember they just cheered.
Hi, y'all.
It was a good shot in the arm. At that age, I was starting to get a good idea for what were going to be good sweep episodes. And I just felt like we needed the shot. And that's how Myrtle came back.
But make sure to save room for dessert.
Well, what's for dessert?
Me. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so y'all just saw that right there. For some of y'all, that's probably your first time seeing it, but I remember seeing this years ago when it got first published on here. It's a much longer segment than it's like probably like an hour long. If you go on Entertainment Weekly's like YouTube channel, you could probably see the entire thing. So that was Jaleel White telling his story when he first had to put on a dress on Family Matters way back in the day as a teenager. Like, you gotta think he was probably maybe
back in the 90s.
Maybe 14, maybe at the time when he did it. Yeah. And he said that his dad said that he would never do that character again. Okay. He said he went into his dressing room and cried after they filmed the scenes.
Get over here.
Said it took him about 3 years to get back into that character. And notice when he said that when he had agreed to do it, the crew was so happy that he agreed to do it because they thought they would never see it again. They were not happy with just him doing Steve Urkel. It wasn't enough for him to just be Steve Urkel, who was a draw for the show anyway. And Myrtle Urkel, the character only popped up like maybe once every other season. It wasn't like a regular character like Steve Urkel. I think that's probably why they had to create the Stefan character, because they wanted another Steve caricature on the show to fill in that spot, which lets me know that if he continued to do Myrtle Urkel, we would have saw that character way more times than we did while Family Matters was on the air.
All right, y'all, I'm gonna end it here. I just wanted to hear that clip. All right, Lady Che, what are your thoughts on Marlon Wayans defending black male actors wearing dresses in movies? And he's upset that black people are complaining about black men, black actors.
Well, again, I'm not gonna reiterate what I said earlier. I'm just gonna say this: that you shouldn't have to wear a dress to elevate as a black man. Mm-hmm. And you keep in mind that, when you're doing that, if you ever want to get some coochie in life, man, keep your motherfucking ass out of dresses.
Right.
I mean, like, really, keep your ass out of dresses and don't let nobody put you in one. Like stand up for yourself. I mean, right. Like, seriously, bruh. Like, there is got to be a better way of elevating yourself to where you ain't gotta be in no motherfucking dress. Like, is that role, is that money really all that you gotta get in? I mean, not all money is good money. There is a proper agenda that's floating around that want to emasculate you as a black man. Look, them white men get dresses, they make money too, and nobody trips on them. Nobody says anything. But when you get a black man in a dress, it's a real fucking issue. And it should be. We should be fucking mad. Like, when women, like, I don't know any sister that date brothers that would allow they dude, let's just be the N word all over this place. They allow they dude to be in a motherfucking dress, mini skirt, tutu, any of that shit. Like, I got a clip for my fun day. Well, I'm gonna do my fun day, you know, where we sit back and clown, right? But the man is, his daughter's tooth fell out, and he in a fucking tooth fairy costume. You know what I mean? He's walking around talking about $50. Let's just put $5 under the little girl pillow. You know what I mean? And he's clowning around, but he in a costume playing the tooth fairy for his daughter who had her first tooth fall out. That's like a different type of exception. You know what I mean? And even then, he walking around with hairy ass legs, hairy big ass arms. He's clearly a man. He ain't doing no gay shit. It's weird. You know, he's just in a costume, just bopping around the bedroom real quick to try to, you know, brighten up little girl life. You know, his little girl, not putting on a dress and showing out for everybody and their mama, and thinking that it's cute. It ain't cute. There's nothing cute about this. Like, you're ruining your fucking life. When they start bringing gay shit up into hip hop, it ruined hip hop. Now music is so motherfucking gay and weird. I don't even want to listen to the shit. Yeah. I don't want to listen to any kind of shit now that has to do with hip hop, rap, anything, because I can't tell if these motherfuckers putting on for you know, bitches like rap too. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I want to listen to masculine rap, right? I don't want to listen to nobody switches better than me, harder than me. You think? I'm a woman.
Right. A natural born woman. I'm
a woman. I don't want any man especially a brother, trying to switch better than me. We see that shit on television. It's not a rip. We let it go on long enough. We gotta cancel it. Man gotta be standing up. Look, bro, like I know it's a role and everything, but trust and believe. You can just wait some more. Save your bread when you get it. Just in case, you know what I mean? Do something else. Create your own shit. Do some other shit. But don't put yourself in a dress and don't think you ever gonna get no pussy. Stop creeping with white girls. It's very simple. Keep your motherfucking ass out of dresses. Don't fuck white bitches. Simple. There's just simple things. Like, not all money, good money. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's disgusting. I'm disgusted.
Yeah, that's disgusting. But like I said, Dr. Francis Chris Wilson talked about all this back in the 70s. And yeah, this is a form of modern day buck breaking. Whenever a black man got to put on a dress to elevate, like, that's buck breaking. Yeah. And I brought this to the attention of the Free Coon Zone when I was running for mayor. And I was accused of being homophobic, transphobic, all this, and a bigot. And I literally asked them to define a bigot, and they couldn't do it. I said, well, I got to wear a dress to elevate. And it was crickets. And it's an agenda. All this is an agenda, Black family. It's an agenda to effeminate or emasculate the black male image. And Dr. John Hendrick Clark told us that whoever controls the images controls the people. So, yeah, imagery is very important. And this is not just entertainment. Because they always get, oh, well, it's just entertainment. It's just comedy. No, it's not comedy. It's nothing funny about this. It's modern day buck breaking. So that's my thoughts on that. So the next topic is our unhoused neighbors situation. First of all, there's a lot going on in other cities too, such as Chicago, and these other sanctuary cities, Chicago, Denver, New York. So homelessness in America is on the rise. We've had record high homelessness in America amidst nationwide rent surge. So I'm gonna get that clip going right now. Again, thank y'all for staying up late with us. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to Frontline Black News, the Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook. It's Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter, now X. Find this clip. Here it is. Lisa again. Shout out to Lisa.
Ladies and gentlemen, a record-breaking number of Americans are homeless as rent continued to surge across the country. And, ultimately, these property owners are going to hurt themselves because what's happening, y'all, people are not renting like they used to. And when they see these high prices, their property are just going to sit there. And nobody's going to rent it from them because it's just too much money. And, and it's wrong that these politicians sit there, they're seeing this happen, and they're not doing anything to regulate it.
Right.
So, the way I see it is going to be lose-lose at the end of the day. It's going to be a loss for the landlord because nobody's going to rent at the prices that you're asking. And then you're going to have a whole flood of homeless people out on the streets. So, but it's amazing, ladies and gentlemen, all of the same people that complain about reparations, you notice you don't hear all these strong cries against paying for these migrants that are coming up in here. You don't hear them like that.
Mm-mm.
And you certainly don't hear them complaining about homeless, but they generally hate poor people anyway. But a growing number of Americans are ending up homeless as soaring rents in recent years squeezed their budgets. According to a January 25th report, Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies, roughly 653,000 people are reportedly homeless as of January 2023, roughly up 12% from the same year prior, 48% in 2015. It marks the largest single year increase in the country's unhoused population on record. Homelessness, a long problem in states such as California and Washington, also increased historically. More affordable parts of the country, Arizona, Ohio, Tennessee, and Texas, have seen the largest growth in their unsheltered population due to rising local housing costs. The alarming jump in people struggling to keep a roof over their head became amid blistering inflation in 2021 and 2022, and as surging rent prices across the U.S. outpaced the workers' wage rate. So wages are not going up, but the rent is consistently going up. So,
Said that.
And yeah,
running for campaign.
These ultimately be a problem. Although the range of factors can cause homelessness, high rents, and expiration of pandemic relief contributed to the spike in housing insecurity, according to researchers. In the first year of the pandemic, renter protections, income supports, and housing assistance helped starve off a considerable rise in homelessness. However, many of these protections ended in 2022 at the same time when rents were rising rapidly and increasing numbers of migrants were prohibited from working. As a result, the number of people experiencing homelessness jumped nearly 17,000 in 1 year, according to a report. Rent in the U.S. has steadily climbed since 2001. An analysis of the census and real estate data, the Harvard researchers found that half of all U.S. households across income levels spent between 30 and 50% of their monthly pay on housing in 2022, defining the costs burdening some 12 million tenants were severely cost burdened the year, meaning they spent more than half of their monthly income on rent and utility, up 14% from pre-pandemic levels. People earning $45,000 to $74,999 per year took the biggest hit from rising rent. On average, 41% of their paycheck went towards rent and utilities. The Joint Center for Housing Study said tenants should generally allocate more than 30% of their income towards rent, according to a U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Although the rent market is showing signs of cooling, the median rent in the U.S. was $1,964 in December of 2023, up 23% from before the pandemic, according to online housing market rent. By comparison, inflation adjusted weekly earnings for the median earner rose 1.7% between 2019 and 2023. Government data shows rapidly rising rent combined with wage losses in the early stages of the pandemic have underscored the inaccuracy of the existing housing safety net, especially times of crisis, the Harvard report stated. So, y'all, this looks bad. You got all this rising homelessness out here, and all Joe Biden wants to do is take care of a bunch of migrants that don't pay any taxes here. You know, and it's amazing. All of the same people, you know, you don't hear them complaining about a thing. So it is what we said it was as far as reparations is concerned. But homelessness, when you're pouring money into other countries, spending money on war, spending money on housing people that were not even born and raised here, as you watch record number Americans become homeless, is unforgivable. This nation doesn't deserve to survive. You really, truly don't. You're lucky to be where you are today.
That's right.
Y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video.
Yep. Yep. I agree wholeheartedly with what Lisa was saying. It's like these politicians create problems just so they can act like they solving them. They ain't solved nothing. For the past 20 years we've been hearing, oh, we're gonna end homelessness here in Denver, and it has yet to materialize. But yet they have all this money and resources for these illegal immigrants to come over here, and they finding all this money to put them up, but they can't take care of their own citizens. This country has its priorities all fucked up. Well, those that's in leadership of this country have their priorities all fucked up. Lady Che, what are your thoughts on what Lisa Cabrera just said?
I agree. As you can tell, we live in a democratic state, so Democrats got it all fucked up. They're spending money and they don't give a fuck. That's it. We're in the house neighborhood, right?
Yes.
He could. Great. Good. I'm more sad. Man.
All right, so we had a lot of stuff happen here in Denver in regards to the unhoused neighbors, which is my term, my slogan that I came up with back in 2019, not prior to that. When we were running the Right to Survive ballot initiative, which was going to basically repeal the urban camping ban that's been in effect for the past 12 years, which makes it illegal for you to survive on the streets of Denver. You can be arrested, ticketed, or harassed, covering yourself with a tent, a tarp, a sleeping bag, anything besides your own clothing is deemed illegal in the city and county of Denver, unless you're a migrant. Migrants can do whatever they want to do, no consequences. But your average American citizen can't go out there and set up shop without having to be in fear of arrest, being ticketed, or harassed. So, in regards to the camping ban, there was a ruling back in 2019 where the Ninth Circuit Court has said that this is basically cruel and unusual punishment. These sweeps that the city calls cleanups. And me and Lady Che have documented over the past 3-4 years these sweeps on our Facebook pages and on our YouTube channels, and the impact of them and how traumatic they are, because they're traumatic displacements. I mean, Lady Che, we have family that is out on the streets and have been out on the streets for years, if not decades, and they are not being prioritized, but people that aren't even from this country, didn't pay no taxes, didn't vote any of these elected officials in the office, take priority, take precedence over them. So the Supreme Court is now, the Ninth Circuit Supreme Court is now looking at overturning the urban camping ban. So where is that clip? I'm trying to find the clip. And then yesterday there was a hearing at City Council for ending the freezing sweeps. So if it's below 32 degrees, they're not supposed to be doing sweeps. But we already know, like I said, we documented over the years, they still do the sweeps. They do sweeps when there's a complete blizzard outside. As a matter of fact, how we even got the tiny homes in the first place was a brother by the name of Jerry Burton, who I used to work with over at DHO at Denver Homeless Out Loud. He got his military blanket taken during a sweep, and that set the catalyst for these tiny home villages. So it was a black man that was responsible for the tiny home villages and the safe outdoor camps. And he had a whole encampment called Jerryville, and he was the mayor of Jerryville. And Lady Che stayed at Jerryville, and I have frequented Jerryville as an advocate for our unhoused neighbors. And the city stole that idea, co-opted it, and turned it into these safe outdoor camps. So they have these safe outdoor camps, and now they got these tiny home villages, and as we documented it over the years, Black people that have lived at these sites have been treated horrendously, like our good friend Dwayne Peterson, who is still unhoused and was terrorized when he was at the tiny home villages. But nobody wants to hear that. They just want to hear, oh, well, we got them off the streets, and they're housed. They don't want to hear about the white supremacist syndicates that exist within the tiny home villages. They don't want to talk about the racism and white supremacy that exists within the homeless community. They don't want to talk about none of that. They don't want to talk about how white people are being prioritized over any other race of people that is unhoused. And then the migrants are even taking precedent over them. So I'm trying to find this clip about the damn Supreme Court looking to overturn the urban camping ban, which in effect has been in effect for 12 years since 2012, May 20, May 12th, 2020 or 2012 is when Denver enacted the urban camping ban, and it was a result of the Occupy movement. It was in response to the Occupy movement, Occupy Wall Street movement, that started in New York City and then expanded nationwide. And we still do have a Occupy chapter here in Denver, Colorado, who I am very fond of because they do a lot of work for the community. In fact, they're the ones that help with the food bank every Sunday that I do at the Dahlia Square Senior Apartments. So they're the ones that deliver the food, and I bring it up and set it up in the room in the building for the seniors and the people in the neighborhood to have access to free, healthy food. And I've been doing that for 8 years now. So while I'm finding that clip, I'm gonna play these clips from Denver City Council yesterday. The Denver City Council approves the ban on freeze and sweeps. It's been a long time coming.
Hi, my name is Alina, and I would like to give you a few reasons why you should consider dating a young Slavic lady.
Moments ago, Denver City Council approving a bill that would stop the city from clearing out homeless encampments when the temperatures fall below freezing. Fox 31's Andrea Henderson joining us outside City Hall with what supporters and opponents of this bill are saying. Andrea.
Yeah, Jeremy, after a couple of amendments and about an hour of discussion, that bill narrowly passed by a vote of 7-6.
No freezing sweeps.
Supporters of a bill to stop homeless sweeps in Denver when it's below freezing rallied outside City Council Monday.
The house's populations are human beings, and we're not asking for much. We're just asking to give them the opportunity to stay warm during freezing temperatures and not lose their lives.
The plan would stop the city from doing homeless sweeps when temperatures fall below 32 degrees and are deemed too dangerous.
When you come in and you force us out in the middle of the cold to move, you're putting us out into that weather, and then we have to do all of this moving with all of our belongings in the freezing cold, making us more susceptible to these conditions.
If passed, officials say the only exception would be if there's an imminent threat to public health. But those against the bill say it will lead to longer stays on the streets and hurt the progress made over the past 6 months. Councilman Darrell Watson voted against the bill earlier this month.
Over 1,300 lives and counting have been changed because of an intensive focus on making sure that encampment living is no longer a regular part of life for residents in Denver.
Watson says people cleared from encampments will be offered shelter, and the bill will make it harder for the health department to get folks off the streets and into shelters during dangerous conditions.
If there is a fire, if there is a rat infestation, if folks are simply not properly dressed to be out in weather, the steps that they have to take, they're stating this makes it more complex.
And after that vote, Mayor Johnson's office sent out a statement just a few moments ago. It says in part, this proposal will limit the actions the city can take to keep people safe, and he will make a decision on the bill in the coming days. So, of course, we'll let you know what he decides if he does, in fact, decide to veto this bill. For now, live here in Denver, Andrea Henderson, Fox 31.
Well, if you veto the bill, then you're a hypocrite, Johnson. So they're referring to the newly selected Mayor Johnson, who had this plan to house 1,000 people. He claims that he did it, but it was only after the migrants arrived that all this immediate action toward getting people housed occurred. Prior to that, they were dragging their feet, making every excuse in the book on why they couldn't do it. And now all of a sudden, it's a problem and we have to deal with it. Lady Che, what are your thoughts on the ban of the freeze and sweeps?
Well, I think that we have been asking for that for years, and they would deny it. I'm sorry, my heart is really hurting right now. It seems like I got like all of a sudden it got really cold for me, even though it's not really that cold. I guess what the temperature says. But as you can see, I'm having a hard time. Shit. What I would say is that we had been asking when we was unhoused, and we were really unhoused. It's like we just was talking about, it don't really matter. We was outside, and we just was helping with the sweep of the city. One of the things was, partially the fucking sweeping during the winter time.
Yes.
And moving around during the winter time because there was like motherfuckers walking around zombie like during the winter because you couldn't get no fucking rest anywhere. And so yeah, the sweeping, the fucking not opening no shelters, shit. That had been an ask for them to make it like now something during this administration. It's like a show. It seems fake as fuck. The fact that they're gonna let it happen is a slap in the face to anybody who was homeless prior to this.
Right.
Because we had no resources. We had nothing. Couldn't even get into shelter sometimes. I spent 3 winters in fucking blizzard conditions with no clothes on or shoes. I got documented. So not to mention how many times I got frostbite and I lost my limbs. So I did not lose those limbs, but I have natural survival instincts, it seems like.
And we know people that have.
But we know motherfuckers that have. And not only that, but being a woman, just be a woman and being a full functioning woman in blizzard-like condition, you'll see that it's not a game. And I mean that without sounding derogatory or disrespectful to our plights as women, but the fact that they don't ever want to help actual women in the city is fucking ridiculous. And now they made all this point to do it for the migrants. Last year was something because the previous councilwoman was doing the work of the Unhoused, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And change of pace. Let's say that one of our councilwomen is doing it. I'm just saying that what they're talking about now with them with this bill, it's a slap in the face, and it seems disrespectful. And I hope he doesn't veto it because he would be able to. Just you want to take your headphones out of that.
What headphones?
Your headphones.
They're not even getting messed up. They're covered with this.
All right, whatever.
The what?
Where? In my jewelry box. Can you put my jewelry in? Yeah. Here we go. Very please, because I gotta lay down.
All right, so I have some more clips I wanted to play. So the city.
What's the temperature right now?
It's 36.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
I don't know, but so there's a situation where there's 69 businesses in Denver received grant to offset the negative impacts of homeless encampments. So
what? Can you pass me the things like I asked you so it came up here? And then we'll play.
And covering Colorado First now in Denver, more than 60 businesses are receiving grants to offset the negative impacts of homeless encampments in the city. Jasmine Arenas is your reporter in Denver. And Jasmine, a number of businesses actually told you the financial support they're getting is what's keeping their doors open.
Yeah, good evening, Kelly. Some businesses say this will help, and this grant arrived just in time, while other businesses say it's not enough, and this is not going to help them much. For 60 years, La Fiesta restaurant on Champa Street has been bringing the party to the city.
This is
Downtown Denver.
real Denver, the heart of the city.
But then a few years ago, homeless encampments started impacting their business,
I'll drive up to work, and every day there's, we're cleaning.
forcing the restaurant to make major safety adjustments.
We've installed cameras, security cameras, which we've never, ever had. We've also done more lighting.
Adjustments that cost thousands of dollars, though a grant from the city is helping offset those costs.
Questions from our customers all the time. How are you dealing with this, with these people? They see tents, but it's getting better.
But it's still an uphill battle.
I also designed these fur covers here.
Nelly Bernal is a small business owner set up just a block away from the Denver Rescue Mission.
I've seen it all. I'm right by, a lot of the shelters, the feces, the drug usage.
She says the encampments have made her lose out on business.
And I've had customers with piles of clothes ready to check out, and a guy comes in to solicit for something, and it scares them off, and I've never seen that customer come back again.
And at one point even had plans to shut down.
We would have had to make a decision by September, which is when our lease is expected to end, whether we were going to keep it open or alive. So it actually did help us make the decision to keep it open.
With the city stepping in, both businesses say they're feeling hopeful about the future.
I'm looking forward to the summer and getting people to come into our beautiful shop here.
We will continue to do everything we can to keep things going.
And businesses receiving this grant can receive anywhere from $7,500 up to $15,000. It's all based off their annual gross income and the proof of evidence they've provided. Live in Denver tonight, Jasmine Arenas covering Colorado First.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Lady Shannon?
I'm just like, look at who's saying something. And look at if you know our city, and you know how hard it was. Like they just don't understand. Nobody understands how hard it is to fucking be homeless. Mm-hmm. It's always one thing to fucking judge, but you don't know what it's like for a motherfucker to go put a fucking tent up right outside the fucking outside of a fucking business or anything, just on a fucking available street. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what it's like. So when they sit there like, oh my God. You have to think about what it's like for that person to actually do that.
Right.
You have a fucking choice.
Why are they having to do that? Because that's where all the service providers are at. Right. All the service providers are located in that same area. Like they brought up Jesus Saves, like that's the men's shelter. And across the street.
Jesus Saves wouldn't let you put up no tent right in front of their shit.
No, they wouldn't. But the point I'm getting at is they have to set up tents in the area. Mm-hmm. So they can assess the services. They're also talking about, the homeless don't want the services. They don't want the help. And it's like, well, you got all the service providers located in the same area, but you're surprised that people are setting up tents in the area.
I have no idea what it's like. It's real quick, easy to judge. So your motherfucking ass has to be outside for whatever reasons. It's just a fucking opinion. You have no idea what it's like to set up. You act like they act like, and I say you, I mean Jess. They act like it's so easy for a motherfucker to be unhoused and set up shit right there. Sometimes there is nowhere to fucking go.
Right.
We get kicked out of alleys. We get kicked out of everything, man.
Get kicked out the shelter.
There is nowhere to fucking go. And sometimes that's the only spot. It's right there. And then, when a motherfucker put their shit up the first time, they think it's just going to be just them. And next thing you know, everybody, their mother starts to gravitate over there. Mm-hmm. So it never works out the way anybody wants it to work out. It's very fucking unfair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so which one? This one?
Anyone.
So we covered a few weeks back that the city had purchased another hotel in South Denver, the Embassy Suites, huh? Yeah. So we have warned that there was going to be some issues. There was a lot of concerns about city purchasing this hotel that was supposed to be for families, migrants, and transgender people. So now there's already been 2 stabbings at this hotel shelter, and now the neighbors are definitely worried. They were worried beforehand. Now they're definitely worried. So I'm gonna play that clip.
We have a lot to get to here at 9, and we start with those neighbors living near a new homeless shelter at the former Embassy Suites near Hamden and Tamarack, who say their fears are already coming true.
This after multiple violent crimes have been reported in just a matter of days. Fox 31's Nicole Fierro is on it tonight. She joins us live, all new at 9. Nicole.
You had 2 different stabbings on Friday, one, the other on Saturday. This is exactly what neighbors voiced concerns over before the sale of this former Embassy Suites and before people started moving into this now shelter at the end of the year.
How many people think this is a bad idea?
From concerns expressed mid-December to fears confirmed come January. Neighbors sharing these videos of a police presence Saturday night at the Embassy Suites turned family shelter off Hamden. What Denver police tweeted out first as a large disturbance with several people arrested, following up saying it was one person stabbed with an ongoing investigation. Just a day after another stabbing, determined to be domestic violence related at the same spot, police say.
We're only 30 days in, 2 stabbings and various incidents.
Rosemary Gilmet serves as the president over the condos backing up to the suites turned shelter.
They can see it from their patios. A lot of drug exchanges.
Gilmet found this man in her condo's exitway recently.
Feeling a little frustrated, partly because the whole thing was not transparent.
She and others are wondering, with the police lights and drugs they're seeing, where's the oversight at the shelter set up for young children and their families? The mayor's office telling us tonight the Tamarack Family Shelter, former Embassy Suites, is staffed 24/7 and has security measures to minimize/prevent incidents and to ensure the safety of community members and the residents. When asked what those are, they said they're not able to share specifics to those measures to prevent someone from bypassing them. But with what's happened in just the last weekend.
So there's no one there to mitigate like somebody getting into a fight or anything like that. So they need security.
Neighbors are hoping whatever security measures are in place will strengthen.
What I'm really worried about is come the warm weather and what it may bring.
Yeah, the other question from neighbors are how long these families are going to be staying in these rooms. We reached out to the city about that. As soon as we get a response, we'll be sure to let you know. Live here off of Hamden, Nicole Fierro, Fox 30. All right, Nicole.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Black family. I'll keep it 100 for you. One of them migrant families for women with children, when they decide they want to bring their children across the motherfucking city of Denver. States, dragging them through fences and walls and water and shit. They're acting like they need help all of a sudden. When it didn't take them, they didn't need no motherfucking help. Taking 4 months to get over here, though, right?
Right.
And now they gotta get it out of there, and they just over here welching off of motherfucking our shit and in our shit. But let me tell you how fucked off it is when a motherfucking black family go in there to get a hotel voucher. You gotta jump through hoops and loops, and it's barely for 3 days. Barely. These motherfuckers is out living the fucking good life for 47 motherfucking days, if not longer. So this is a fucking game, cuz like this shit made me so goddamn mad. I got man, I can't. It's a migrant shelter. This is for there is no way in fuck we have that many residents with their children out in the fucking street. No fucking way. No fucking way. You couldn't convince me that. You couldn't convince me that. As many fucking homeless families as there are in the street living in cars, okay? Them motherfucking kids are not like that. You got motherfuckers around couch surfing and fucking be outside. So I'm telling you right now, it's a fucking game. It's a game, and these are migrants. stabbings. You hear motherfucking families been over there shanking motherfuckers lately. You haven't until we had the migrant overflow. Does it not happen? Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it's easier to get your hand. Look, I'm the last motherfucker to talk about motherfucking shakes. Okay? I know it. But I have motherfucker talk about shanking. I carry a knife all the time. And that's because I don't want to carry a gun. You know what I mean? Knives are easier for me to use. However, I wouldn't have my children out the street.
Right.
But
so that's what's happening with the embassy suites. So they're already fucking up, and we already showcased that the Comfort Inn, which is up the street from my house, they had a similar situation a few months back. So all these little homeless shelters they're setting up for these migrants, there's all kinds of crime, drug usage, all kinds of shit going on. So to add insult to injury with the unhoused neighbor population here in Denver, now there's meningococcal bacteria running rampant. There's 4 cases of it that's been documented amongst people experiencing homelessness here in Denver. So I'm gonna play that clip next.
I saved hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Homelessness is hard enough. Now it's putting people at risk of a serious disease.
Meningococcal disease is a rare but serious illness that's caused by a bacteria called Neisseria meningitidis. It is an illness that's spread from person to person.
Grace Nelson with the Denver Department of Public Health says at least 4 people in the city's shelter system have gotten sick. She says each positive case has been treated, but there's still a chance there are more unidentified cases.
We're trying to figure out where this person's been, where they've been living, who they spend time with, and particularly folks that they may have, spent time with doing activities that would put them at increased risk for exposure to their spit or saliva.
The Colorado Coalition for the Homeless knows potential sickness can deter shelter use. But Chief Communications Officer Kathy Alderman says shelters work to control spread.
Our shelter operators are very cognizant of this, especially, on the heels of the COVID pandemic, about putting the safety measures in place to try to keep people safe and to keep people informed.
Alderman says the best prevention is getting vaccinated, an opportunity the Department of Public Health is now making available.
So we're planning to be rolling out, and we actually just started today with a vaccine clinic at a shelter location, and plan to continue that over the next several weeks and months to really try and encourage people to get a vaccine.
If left untreated, the Department of Health says the disease can develop into meningitis, blood infections, and sepsis, a serious illness with potentially deadly complications. According to the health department, the last outbreak of this disease in Denver happened in 2019. Health leaders say there is no threat to the general public.
It's the dirty hands and meningitis, right?
Meningococcal bacteria.
Yeah, it's like whole virus.
Yeah, it's a bacteria though.
Yeah, it's what it is.
There's a difference between bacteria and viruses. But yeah.
Oh my God! Here we go. Either way, anybody get it.
Yeah, it comes from these dirty ass conditions in these goddamn shelters. And I wonder why people don't want to go to shelters, because shelters are fucking disgusting.
You get it at your house. You just use that motherfucking what you call it, that Lysol spray.
Mm-hmm.
The bathroom, and the kitchen and stuff, and the door knobs.
Yeah, that's supposed to kill that.
It's supposed to kill that because you got any kind of things happening. Like, I was on the bus today, and I swear to God, I felt like I got a little cold or something like that, and I was masked the fuck up, looking like a whole gang member.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it go down sometimes. Like, especially when you got someone like me that's immune compromised or viral or bacterial prone, that Lysol, them Lysol
wipes.
Lysol wipes, motherfucking with the ones with the bleach spray. Yeah, that shit is real good. That Fabuloso good for killing germs too. And it smells real pretty. We used to have a lot more of that around here, but like we got when everything started really happening with us over here at the Frontline Black News, that was hard to get our resources up. So we have to use everything sparingly sometimes. I'm gonna change though.
Okay, so I found a clip I was looking for about the Supreme Court ruling on if they want to keep the urban camper ban or not.
Oh yeah. Fairly, I'm gonna lay down. Jesse got it, but we pretty much think the same on this housing stuff, and definitely think about Black people first before anybody else, because it's a tragedy how they do us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't always gonna be like that, family. Just know that. Our day is coming. It ain't gonna be like this all the time.
Right.
Jacqueline, Jake, and little Jasmine, born in Denver, raised in...
U.S. Supreme Court is taking up a case that could impact how Denver handles homelessness. This year, the justices will consider the constitutionality of camping bans. The court will hear an appeal of a federal court ruling that prevents the city of Grants Pass, Oregon, from enforcing its public camping ban. They do that through fines and tickets and arrests. That court ruled that civil or criminal enforcement of a camping ban when there's no other shelter option available is cruel and unusual. Legal groups say a Supreme Court decision could either restrict or uphold the camping ban enforcement in Colorado. The rules and enforcement mechanisms really do vary widely across the state.
This is the most important Supreme Court case about homelessness in 40 years. And at the core of this case is, does the Constitution apply to people who are experiencing homelessness or not? And in Grants Pass, like in many cities in America, half of the residents are housing burdened. And instead of working to meet people's housing and shelter needs, the city has decided to give people tickets and fines. And the Ninth Circuit Court rightly said that that's cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments in April, have until the end of June to issue a decision. That decision could derail an ongoing ACLU lawsuit against Boulder's camping ban. That's set to go to trial in August.
Okay. So we'll keep y'all updated on that. Hopefully they do rule in favor of banning these stupid ass camping bans, because they're just inhumane, ugly, Jim Crow type laws.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't still have laws like this on the books in 2024. So then the time has come for the annual Unhoused neighbor count. So every year around this time, they do a snapshot of the homeless population and given locale. And this is what they used to report to the federal government about how many unhoused people were in that city or in that town or whatever. So it's time for Denver's. Someone played a clip on that. It's called the point in time count. We've proven throughout the many years of me working with D-Ho and other organizations that advocate for the unhoused, for our unhoused neighbors, that is a flawed count.
Yeah.
They're not counting people that's sleeping in their cars. They're not counting people that's living under the bridges. They're not counting people that's living in the woods. They're not counting people that's couch surfing or living with family. So it's a very flawed count.
Stay alert, America. China's 100-year war to defeat the U.S.
Right now, volunteers from several different communities are canvassing the metro area, trying to get a snapshot of how many people are experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon is following the story for us this morning. Courtney, so it's called the point in time count. Can you explain to us how exactly it works?
Of course. Good morning, Jordan and Corey. So the point in time count happens across 7 counties in the metro area, including Denver, Boulder, and Arapahoe counties. It all happens across a 24-hour time span, with some areas doing it at night and some areas doing the count in the morning. Now, the Metro Denver Homeless Initiative organizes this count every January. It's required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Aurora does a count separate from the rest of Arapahoe County since it's so large. That count is going on right now. Managers for Aurora's homeless program say they know there are many more people experiencing homelessness than just those they count, but this number gives them a start. Last year, more than 9,000 people were counted across the 7-county region, but the Metro Denver Homeless Initiative says the actual number of people experiencing homelessness is closer to 30,000 throughout the year. Emma Knight with the city of Aurora says this count helps them make informed decisions on how to help.
We know that we have a higher number of people experiencing homelessness in Aurora who are single adults. So with that, we know, okay, we need to be able to provide more shelter for single adults.
Now, the final results for the point in time count will take some time to compile. Knight says that they should get those numbers from HUD in about 8 months or around October. Corey, Jordan.
All right, Courtney, thank you.
All new tonight here at 5, there's a new plan to help get the homeless off the street.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a flawed count. And like I said, they won't have the data out until October. So now we're moving to A-Town, where we're at right now. Yes.
Why?
So now Arapahoe County has a strategic homeless plan that they just released. I'm gonna play the clips of that.
In Arapahoe County.
Because it is important, because a lot of our people live in Aurora now because they can't afford to live in Denver anymore.
Yeah, it's much more organized, and county leaders there hoping the homeless strategic plan will make a difference. We'll see. Fox 31's Vicente Arenas live in Littleton this afternoon, where he's been talking to people about these new efforts. Vicente.
Jeremy, we will see, because this is a county that has been dealing with the homeless more and more. The numbers just continue to go up. They're describing it as a crisis, and they're hoping this new plan will make a difference.
Drive the streets of Littleton, and you don't see as many tents on sidewalks as you do in a place like Denver. But people who look for them and count them say there were 442 unhoused people during the last point in time count here. Now there's a homeless strategic plan to help get people off the streets.
Why is this so important? Well, we know that homelessness has increased significantly, and in Arapahoe County, it's more than doubled since the start of the pandemic. And so it is something that needs a coordinated regional response.
Catherine Smith is helping lead the county's efforts to continue battling the problem in places like Littleton. The folks over at the Graceful Community Cafe are also doing their part. The cafe has prepared more than 94,000 meals for people who could not afford them. Salads and cheese sandwiches are nutritious and home cooked.
What every guest should experience when they walk through that door is a sense of home, a place to belong.
Graceful has helped people like Joshua Casillas, who was once homeless, with food and now an intern here. Graceful, he says, has been a blessing.
I think it's amazing because places like this didn't used to exist out here. So, you know, it was harder to find somewhere to go to be all right.
Paying customers at the cafe help provide food for others. The owner says it's more than just food that people get here. It's a little help that will perhaps help them figure out how to get back on their feet.
And Graceful Community Cafe also helped count the number of homeless here in Arapahoe County. 2 specific things among many that this plan is working on is coordinated care and affordable housing. They're hoping this plan will help achieve those goals. Live in Arapahoe County, Littleton, I'm Vicente Arenas, Fox 31.
For who? I was unhoused, working in.
Just moments.
Yeah, Arapahoe County is horrible. Like, it's the same county where Elijah McClain was killed. And several others. And the police chief just had to resign because he had outstanding work for his arrest out of Texas. He was on the run for 5 years. Lady Che covered that on the RBA, so make sure y'all check out the last RBA. This goes into serious detail about that. But yeah, now Aurora want to try to do something, or specifically Arapahoe County. See, Arapahoe County is a big county, so it encompasses Aurora and several other municipalities. So now they want to try to do something about our unhoused neighbors. So Aurora City Council just votes to buy the Crown Plaza Hotel. So now they're trying to do what Denver's doing by buying up these old hotels and motels and converting them into shelter for the unhoused.
Just moments ago, the Aurora City Council voted in favor of buying a hotel. They want to turn it into a campus for people experiencing homelessness. We're talking about the Crown Plaza Hotel. It's located near I-70 and Chambers Road. The move is already stirring up controversy from community advocates because of the way Aurora wants to run it. Our Rob Harris joins us now live in the studio tonight to break down the council's decision. Rob?
Yes, the vote was 7-3. The city is moving forward to buy that hotel and turn it into the Aurora Regional Navigation Campus. The majority on the city council had one main message as it voted to approve this new homelessness plan, which is they wanted to.
Me and Lady Che wanted to do something similar when we were running for public office. And as you can see, they done co-opted our idea, and now they're trying to implement it. And like Johnston and Denver, they're not going to be able to do it like they think they're going to be able to do it.
To be unlike Denver's plan. So this campus will follow what's being called a work-first model, whereas a housing-first model, shelter lets people in without any work or sobriety requirements, then it encourages residents to enter programs after. This campus will offer different tiers of housing the residents will earn their way into through things like part-time work and participation in drug-free programs.
If we are truly compassionate, we want to help those that are experiencing homelessness to be productive, to be able to overcome substance abuse disorders, to get mental health help.
Now, I spoke with a representative with the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless before this vote. The coalition advocates for a housing-first approach. So while they're glad to see more money invested in this safe indoor space, they don't want to see people turned away from it.
We should encourage people to engage in employment opportunities, and we should provide meaningful opportunities for them, but requiring them to work before they are eligible for housing is just creating barriers. We also can't forget about the fact that there are people who can't work. Do we want to suddenly assume that those people don't deserve to be stably housed?
So this hotel is about $26 million. Nearly $40 million have been allocated for the Aurora Regional Navigation Campus. That's a combination of funds from the city, surrounding counties, the state, and some federal funds too. The campus could open as early as 2025. Jessica?
Yeah, I actually have to agree with Kathy Alderman on that. Like, yeah, a lot of people can't work. And here's the thing, Black family. If you're on a voucher like me and Lady Che, if you make too much money, you're going to lose your voucher. So you can end up back out on the streets if you're making too much money and they find out, you can lose your voucher. So you got to take all that stuff into consideration. But it's just the same. It's like these people that was like, oh, well, you just, you got to work. You got to work to earn your keep. But the migrants, they don't have to work at all. And they get free room and board, free meals, everything. They get housed in less than a month. Whereas actual citizens got to jump through all these hoops and loops. They're not going to tell you that, but we will here on Frontline Black News. So, still in Arapahoe County. Now, I think this might be the same story. Let me see.
Covering Colorado First now, we go to Arapahoe County for you as the number of homeless people continues to rise. That county taking a new approach to helping get people off the streets.
Yeah, it's the same story. Okay, so this other one is about the point in time.
Homelessness continues to be a problem across the U.S. and right here in COTA territory. Around 582,000 Americans were homeless in 2022.
A yearly count is performed of those experiencing homelessness.
It's down in Colorado Springs, which is directly south of Denver in El Paso County. And as we showed you, it's very racist out there. I mean, this whole damn state is racist as hell. But we had a situation with the Maoris who were being terrorized on their land. So COTA territory, that's southern Colorado. So like Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Trinidad, those areas.
Homelessness to better understand their needs and to access appropriate funding. Our Adrian Carbajal went out to see how local organizations are doing their part in assisting those in need.
The Point in Time Count is an annual event required by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, used to accurately determine the number of homeless people across the country. With this data, the HUD can identify gaps in housing services and provide funds to communities in need. This year, the Black Hills Regional Homeless Coalition, with support from the Volunteers of America, is doing its part in helping those in need by participating in the count.
It's one of the most important things we can do to help our inadequately housed population, not just our individuals that are homeless, which is the #1 priority, but our individuals that are just struggling with housing security, on the edge of being homeless.
Today, organizations throughout the area served breakfast and lunch from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. to give those in need some assistance while they conducted the count. But Richie says the greatest takeaway from these pop-ups wasn't the food, but the sense of community.
It's really inspiring to watch those people that spend their evenings together, get up in the morning and go, okay, Joe, how are you? How'd you sleep last night? They can be around each other and build each other up and give each other some kudos for just the struggles that they go through every day.
Richie says the Volunteers of America still needs volunteers to assist Journey On in their counts tomorrow and Thursday evening. For all those interested in volunteering or those in need of services, there will be dinners served on Wednesday at 209 New York Street and Thursday at the Denver Street Soccer Fields, both at 4 p.m. In Rapid City, I'm Adrian Carbajal.
Somewhere else. Rapid City. I don't know where the hell that is. This is news from somewhere completely different. My bad. But yeah, that point in time count is based off of HUD funding. So, and like I said, it's a flawed count. So it looks like they're trying to desensitize us to our unhoused Black people in this country. So the next clip is about that. So we're switching gears and going to the Midwest, to Chicago, where they have Black unhoused people sleeping on the trains, but they got the migrants up in luxury hotels.
The ship is wrecked. Let's get these repaired.
Hello everyone, South Africa Travel and Tourism. And you're going to have the opportunity to travel with Phil Scott to
sunny South Africa. You guys are going to have the opportunity to come to Johannesburg, and you guys are going to be coming to Durban. And we're going to sunny South Africa.
Shout out to Demetria.
How y'all doing today? Well, I hope you're doing well. Unfortunately, I have another video showing predominantly our people sleeping on a train, on a subway train there in Chicago, the red line to be exact. It's short. Check it out.
Standing passengers, please do not lean against the doors. Please be considerate when talking on your phone or listening to electronic devices.
So some of y'all might be saying, well, Demetria, you showed us quite a few videos like this already. Why do we need to see it again? And I know there's been some other contributors here on the channel have showed it, but I feel like I'm going to continue to show them as long as I see them. You know why? Because I always want myself and y'all to be reminded that voting for Democrats, because Black people are the ones that predominantly, or overwhelmingly, I should say, vote for Democrats. I want us to be reminded of when we do that, this is what we get. Now, I'm not saying Republicans care that much more about our people, but that video right there is in Chicago. Chicago has a newly Black elected mayor, and they had a Black mayor before that. But before, Brandon Johnson came in, the migrant situation wasn't really a big thing, right? But it is now, where Mayor Brandon Johnson is fully on board with helping migrants, to the tune of giving them, as I talk about all the time, housing, food, money, just helping them out, right? Helping them have an easier time. Of course, we know about that big giant weatherized tent that they want to build with the help of Governor Pritzker, who was allocating $65 million to do that so the migrants stay warm, because it's brutally cold in Chicago. But if you saw there on this video and all the other videos that we've shown you here, there are Black people sleeping on those trains, trying to stay warm. In this particular video, you clearly see that 2 Black people huddled up under a blanket because it's cold, and they're getting some rest as everybody is commuting on the train. And there's a couple other people there as well. Now, within the comment section of that video and some of the other videos I've seen, it's like, oh man, why are you filming them? Stop filming them. It's not right. Leave them alone. At least they're warm. And it's like, wow. Is that how we feel about fellow Americans? Or is that how we feel about Black people? Because I guarantee you, if that were migrants being filmed sleeping on the train, there'd be a lot of bleeding heart people. Oh, it's not right. We need to help them. But when it's Black people, it's like, oh, leave them alone. At least they're warm. It's like, no, we should show this. We should never get to the point where we're desensitized to the plight of our own people that are sleeping on trains while migrants are sleeping in hotels, nice hotels, and they're getting housing. And even in some places, they're allowing them to sleep in high schools, even if it's just overnight, right? They're inconveniencing the students that go to that high school so that the migrants can sleep there and not be in the brutally cold weather. But how many Black Chicagoans that are homeless are getting a tap on the shoulder and saying, hey, you don't have to sleep on the street tonight, and you don't even have to sleep on the train. We got accommodations for you. It's nice, it's warm. And in some places I heard they can watch cable, and we got all that for you. You hungry? Oh, don't worry, there's food. How many of them have that story to tell? I bet you not many. Where is Mayor Brandon Johnson and his team? Why don't they go sweep all the subway stations and the trains and say, y'all ain't got this. As long as we paying for migrants, there's no reason why you should be on this train. Where are they doing that? Is there some big campaign? Let's bundle up and go and get all the homeless Black people off the streets. I haven't heard about that. Have y'all? Because I don't know everything. So maybe I'm just missing something. But again, as long as there are Black people sleeping on trains while migrants are sleeping under, triple goose down blankets in nice fancy hotels, I will talk about it. Because I'm one of those people, I don't get desensitized by the plight of our people. I'm not one of those people. I know it's easy to get desensitized, especially with the inception of social media, where we see all kind of negative things all day long, whether it's police brutality. Some people will say, oh, I'm getting desensitized to that. Not me, I'm saying in general. Or, a whole host of things that back in the day, before the inception of the internet, people would be like, oh my God, that's horrible. Now people are like, I just saw a video like that 30 seconds ago. I'm not bothered by it right now. Maybe they're not voicing that, but that's the way they're thinking, to where you get to the point and say, well, leave them alone. At least they're warm. But you're negating that they're warm, allegedly, on this train, while people who are not citizens are warm with a full roof over their head and accommodations. That's not right. How did we get here? Now, I know you ain't got to tell me as a Black person in America that there is no value on Black life from anybody else in regards to Black Americans, but we shouldn't get that way about our own people, because we as Black people have often been taught to care about everybody else before we care about ourselves, right? Oh, we need to cry about migrants. And listen, I'm not saying anybody should be in the cold. That I'm not saying. But what I am saying is that we should not be in the cold too, or first, and then everybody else who's getting help. That's not the way it should be. Because as a taxpayer, that pays taxes in America, I want my tax dollars to go to my people first. When I say my people, I mean Black people first. And if there's anything left over, then yeah, sure, go help everybody else. But as long as there's Black people sleeping on subway trains to escape the cold, I'm always talk about it, whether anybody likes it or not, because I'm going to make sure I do my part that nobody gets desensitized to the plight of Black people. Enough of sweeping that under the rug. We need to really be demonstrative about it so that anybody who's thinking about going to the polls and voting for a Democrat, because we give them our vote mostly, you're going to vote for a Democrat. You think about these images that I'm going to continue to show you of our people sleeping on the trains, and think about it before you check off voting for another person who is okay with Black people sleeping on trains while they are helping everybody else who are not citizens of this country. So anyway, before y'all leave, if y'all could do me a favor and go to africandiasporanews.org and invest in the app that we have built just for you, I would love and appreciate you. And before you leave, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetri K Show, here on YouTube.
Yeah, make sure y'all do the same for Frontline Black News, the revolutionary agenda, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Now, Johnson in Chicago has received emails about one of the shelters in Chicago being infested. I'm going to play that clip next.
Joining a gym fashionably late this year? At Planet Fitness, we got you. Because now through January 31st.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Dillon, and so pleased to be with you here on African Diaspora News Channel. As you come in, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. When you do that, it makes it more likely that other folks are notified that we're here. So you're helping us to be strategic to grow our alternative voice. And how many of you all know that we're your voice, a counter voice to the voice of the oppressive media apparatus? And we thank you so much for doing that. By the way, family, we have an app. Yes, you heard that right. African Diaspora News Channel has their own app. This helps us to take the limits off and gives us another avenue to expand and to grow our voice around the world. You can help us to do that by subscribing. I think you're going to love it. And of course, be sure to share the information with others. Thank you so very much. Family, you all know that for some time now, I've been doing back-to-back coverage on the goings on in Chicago. Chicago is not only just a popular and famous and profound city. I think that they, in my opinion, can represent a place of Black conscious revolutionary renaissance. There are so many formidable events politically, socially, economically that have taken place there. And certainly with the migrant crisis that has been happening throughout the United States, Chicago, and the way in which, in particular, Black Americans in Chicago have begun to expose and to counter some of the multiple agendas that the powers that shouldn't be have been engaged in there, concerning them prioritizing and putting economic, financial tangibles in the hands of folks that committed, that violated federal law to get here, and exposing that and saying, hey, how can you sit here and give them money and resources and housing and then step over Black homeless veterans? How can you justify bringing these folks here when Black families had to move out of the city to somewhere more affordable? How can you justify these things when we have built this country, and after hundreds of years, we still have the United States of America refusing to pay its reparations debt? Reparations is not charity, beloved. Reparations is not being altruistic. Reparations is not being philanthropic. Reparations is a debt that this government owes.
That's right.
To us. But they find ways to put hundreds of billions of dollars in the hand of Nazi Ukrainians to fight an unjust war against Russia. They find ways to put money in the hands of other foreign governments and to help legal and illegal immigrants and give assistance and political aid to LGBT community, the AAPI community, beloved, the Afghans, and so forth. It's a new day, baby. We're not going to be pimped anymore. Well, you all know I've already discussed and exposed the fact that the mayor of New York, the Chicago mayor, have all had to now admit that some of the migrants that have been coming into their particular cities have been coming with multiple sicknesses and infirmities, with some stuff. And we have been asking the questions, how on earth is the so-called most powerful country on the planet allowing folks to come in here unchecked regarding their health, their background, or anything else, right? So just to be clear, there are multiple agendas that are at work. There are multiple moving parts, but one agenda that I want to specifically discuss is this connection with a larger global agenda that they may have, and using the border to make its way, using the border as an infiltration point into the country. So that when we look up again, we're sitting up here saying, how did this happen and how did this get here? But now you're seeing that these different governmental officials are having to now admit that folks are coming here with all these different infirmities and sicknesses. Well, I discussed this sometime before. Be sure to check it out in one of the previous broadcasts where I'm discussing Chicago and the mayor and his officials having to admit that some of the migrants are bringing in different infirmities. Well, as a follow-up to that, guess what? If you saw that broadcast, remember I asked you all, I suggested, you haven't heard this probably anywhere because you may not have read it anywhere, but this is how my mind works. I'm wondering if our people have a case to begin to sue their city and their governmental officials for allowing the population to be exposed to some of these illnesses, and what effect is that having on the community? And I posited the question, how long did the mayor know that this was going on? Because remember, his recent admission about they're coming here sick only came because this 5-year-old passed away, remember? So I started to seed out suspicion, and how long did the city know there were problems that were going on, and what responsibility does the city have to protect its population against such things? There are preemptory steps that your government is supposed to take, whether you know it or not. And I'm simply saying, perhaps somebody needs to talk to an attorney. Well, guess what? This news just came out. This piece from Paris Schultz says, emails show Johnson city officials notified about sewage, roaches, and illnesses at Pilsen migrant shelter almost 2 months before the boy's death highlighted problems. Somebody talk black to me. I told you I'm prophetic first, baby. You got to catch that though. And this is some of the things that I teach about us tapping into the unseen government so that we are able to be to navigate on this plane in my monthly, very, very inexpensive monthly spiritual mastermind course that helps you to get the edge in every area of your life. You can find out more about that on my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKI planet.com. Listen to what this says. I'm not going to read all of this, of course, but I want to read you just a few excerpts in relevant part, right? It talks about how on December 17, 2023, Jean Carlos Martino Rivero died at Comer Children's Hospital. That's the 5-year-old that I'm talking about. It talks about how several other individuals were taken to the hospital from that shelter with respiratory illnesses, according to the mayor's office. It discusses all types of other things surrounding that, and what the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office said there had been no determination made about his death or other illnesses at the shelter tied to unsanitary conditions. They're doing a lot of speculative talk and giving some just basic information, but I want you to listen to this. It says, however, emails exclusively obtained by WTTTW News shine new light on the timeline. Y'all know I discussed this long ago, weeks ago, before this came out just the other day, of when Johnson and his administration were made aware of conditions at the shelter and what exactly those conditions were. The emails also raised questions about how the administration has monitored conditions at migrant shelters and the city's oversight of outside vendor favored staffing, which manages day-to-day operations at migrant shelters. Y'all listen. It says, on October 27, Johnson and several top staffers, including the Department of Family and Support Services Commissioner Brandy Canazzi, were warned by email of alleged unsafe conditions at the shelter. Around that time, a concerned community volunteer reached out to the office of Alderman Nicole Lee of the 11th Ward. Lee then promptly sent an email to the mayor relaying those concerns. WTTT filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the city for a copy of that October 27 email and received a heavily redacted document in response. They go on to talk a little bit about that. The next 6 paragraphs of the message were entirely redacted in the city's records response to WTT News. WTTTW
Atera is an all-in-one IT platform that prevents problems before they happen. IT
news. Watch this. It says, but a nonprofit government accountability organization called the Foyer Bakery shared with WTTW News an unredacted version they say they obtained. The redacted parts allege, y'all listen, the shelter had insufficient bathrooms, exposed pipes with raw sewage, cockroach infestation, a possible outbreak of illness with many people being sick, insufficient provision of meals and water, and poor and disrespectful treatment. It says of migrants housed in the shelter by staff, according to the email. Now, this is not to just say that these migrants deserve any old kind of treatment. We have humanity about us. What I'm trying to show you is that it is absolutely foreseeable that people that violate federal law to get here and that you prioritize over us might be coming here with an illness that the population, the citizens in the United States might be able to catch. And some old stuff. Y'all read through the lines. See my blinkage. Read through the lines of what I'm talking about. And the fact, the environment in which you put them in could possibly expedite the spread of it into the population, exposing and endangering American citizens. What of that? Now, what did I say to y'all weeks before any of this was ever brought to the fore? This was just me being intuitive. And somebody gonna have to talk to an attorney and hold your city officials accountable for possibly endangering Chicago citizens. This is problematic for more reasons than I can say in this short period of time. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it below. My name is Vicky Diller, your sister with the curly braids. Thank you so much for tuning into African Diaspora News Channel.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in to Frontline Black News as well. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Hit that bell. So yeah, this is what voting blue, no matter who gets you. They openly support these open border policies. They openly support prioritizing illegal immigrants, i.e. migrants, over actual citizens, especially Black ones. So now you got a problem on your hands, Democrats. You allowed this shit. Johnson is a Democrat. Johnston here in Denver is a Democrat. Eric Adams in New York is a Democrat. The list goes on and on and on. And you see this in every one of these Democratic cities and states. The same thing is going on. It's going to definitely backfire on the Democrats. The rest think they're going to replace the Black vote with the legal immigrant vote. Illegal immigrants can't even vote. But they think they're going to replace us with them. It's not going to happen. So this next video is about a Chicago state lawmaker who says we need to welcome the migrants. After all of this, we still need to welcome these mugs. Hell to the no, no, no.
When you try.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Diller for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. When you do that, it triggers the algorithm so other folks will know that we're here. Thank you so very much. And by the way, family, I don't know if you've heard about it yet. We have our own app. Yes, African Diaspora News. We have our own app. It can be accessible anywhere around the world. Be sure to download it. Be sure to subscribe. Tell everybody that you know about it. This helps to expand our voice. And how many of you all know it's so important to elevate and to support networks like this one that's speaking for issues that matter to you. Talk black to me, somebody. In addition, of course, you know, we're a counter voice to the oppressive class. So that's so very important that you help to keep us going there and enjoying this new platform that we've made available just for you. Thank you so very much, family. You all know I've been doing back-to-back nonstop coverage related to this unbelievable migrant crisis that has literally taken over the country here in the United States in multiple cities. Chicago has really been standing out because they have been pushing back in some of the most effective ways, so dangerous to Black citizens there that the Democrat Party, the authoritarian Democrat Party, have done everything that they can to prevent, frustrate, foil, stop, and to silence and punish their own Black citizens because they have been objecting to the illegal entrance of folks that are coming from different parts of the world who might pose multiple dangers to their families and communities. And of course, we understand that the United States, and specifically in this case, of course, Chicago, has been making actual monetary resources available to them, non-citizens who violated the law, without having first made economic and tangible resources available for citizens. Now, that's a shame. You can't jump around and find housing for months on end for folks that violated the law to get here for non-citizens, but then you can step over a Black veteran. You can have a Black family shipped to another city because they can't afford to live there anymore because you won't give them a voucher. But we're spending billions of dollars making sure that they have economic resources. That's outrageous. Well, you all know I've been discussing the fact that some of the governmental leaders in these different cities and states, like Chicago and like New York and others, have had to come out and admit that some of the migrants are actually bringing infirmities, illnesses, and sicknesses to these particular cities and states, right? Specifically, here's a quote from Brandon Johnson recently when he said, "People are showing up in very extreme circumstances, very, very unhealthy. I want you to hear me good. They're showing up sick," Johnson said Monday. This is his article from a few weeks ago. Do you hear me? They are showing up sick. So I want you to keep that in mind that he admits this, right? And the fact that in some of the shelters there, as this article specifically says, that such diseases, there have been clusters of illnesses at shelters where people sleep on clots close to each other, including chicken pox, hand, foot, and mouth disease. But there's some other stuff that's come out since this, and this since this as well, related to infestations of roaches. And that piece that I talked about recently, which you should be able to check that video out here soon on African Diaspora News channel, where they got a Freedom of Information Act, which is a legal document, so they can access certain documents that maybe are not readily accessible to the public, where emails show that city officials were actually aware of roach infestations, other illnesses, and sewage and all kinds of madness in these migrant shelters almost a couple of months before that 5-year-old child ended up passing away. Now, remember, I brought up long ago when I started to cover the sicknesses after the mayor admitted it, I started to say, well, I wonder how long they knew about it. And I've been asking, I wonder, do the citizens need to talk to an attorney about suing their city and their governmental officials for not taking the necessary precautions to protect the population? Watch this. This has not stopped, family. This is an absolute scandal that's going on throughout the country, but again, particularly with Chicago. Watch this. One of the Chicago state Representative LaShawn Ford is a Democrat from Chicago. You all, he said, watch this. This is how bad this is. That the state rep said, Illinois State Representative LaShawn Ford told the Center Square that arriving migrants need to undergo a health screening. Watch what he says. If we're going to be a welcoming city, then we need to first welcome them to the health department, Ford said. Family, look, this is a real crisis. I'm not trying to make light of this, but oh my God. Ford said not only are they a risk, but we stand the risk of viruses and diseases crossing the border. Now, family, I've been talking about this the moment that these admissions start to come out, right? So if the state representative, LaShawn Ford, is coming out saying, and I quote, if we're going to be a welcoming city, this is some real shade, ain't it? Then we need to first welcome them to the health department. Family, that tells you we're in a crisis. And there are multiple agendas going, of which I'm going to be talking about in one of my offline webinars. You can get that information later at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKIplanet.com. Family, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. I feel like that this statement would be a wonderful bit of evidence and give merit to a substantive legal case. Of course, I'm not an attorney. I'm saying for you all to talk to an attorney. But it sounds to me that this state representative has come out to say what? Quote, I'm quoting the state representative, the one who's responsible for making laws and setting policy. He says, quote, not only are they a risk, but we stand the risk of viruses and diseases crossing the border. Black Chicago, I want to hear below what y'all think needs to be done about this. Okay, can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. That's something else. He said we're going to be a welcoming city, but he said we need to welcome them to the health department. God, today. Y'all, that's my Mississippi. I'm being silly, but I had to share that bit of news. You know we're in the midst of a serious scandal that's going on with this migrant crisis. My name is Vicky Dillard, beloved. Be sure to share the broadcast.
Yeah, make sure y'all do the same thing for Frontline Black News. Yeah, so like I said, this is all product of voting blue, no matter who. And you're not vetting none of these immigrants, illegal immigrants that are coming across the border. So yeah, of course they're bringing the diseases. They're bringing all kinds of shit with them. And this is what y'all wanted. So now you got to deal with the problem that you caused. So I got one more clip to play before I close it out. This study reveals that high welfare dependency.
Damn, this is actually
High welfare dependency among illegal immigrant households in the United States. Remember, I thought it was just black people that were on welfare. You know, we always get stigmatized that we're all on welfare and we all just want to hand out and all this shit. But these illegal immigrants, they giving them food stamps, they giving them Social Security, they giving them all kinds of shit. And they didn't even pay no taxes. And like none of these officials, they didn't put nothing into the system, but yet the system is giving them everything that citizens are supposed to get, but we don't get.
really, really clever. Video AI. Let's make a video for TikTok. We're going to enter our video.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're saying more than 60% of the migrants that come here are on welfare and other assistance. And the vast majority are not here to work. They're here to take. And they're not even trying to hide that fact that they're just here to take. So let's get into this story. So nearly 3 in 5 illegal immigrant households are on taxpayer-funded welfare, study found. So this is pretty recent, y'all, that they came out with these numbers. And they said a lot of these folks are not working, but they do have at least one U.S.-born child. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
Economic impact of Biden's border crisis. A new report from the Center for Immigration Studies show nearly 3 in 5 illegal immigrants households are on taxpayer-funded welfare support. Steve Camarada is the research director at the Center for Immigration Studies, and he joins us now. So 60% of the folks that are coming here illegally are being supported by the taxpayer. So what happened to all of these folks saying they're giving to society?
Right. So what happens is very often illegal immigrants have U.S.-born children. Most illegal immigrant-headed households have a U.S.-born child, so they get the benefits on behalf of a U.S.-born child. The reason that they qualify is because they're so poor. And the reason they're poor is that most, but by no means all, illegal immigrants tend to have very modest levels of education. So they do work. This is not because they don't work. This is because they work, but they make very low income. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is if you work but make low income, you qualify for everything from food stamps to free school lunch to the WIC program to public housing to the earned income tax credit. So working doesn't
All those
preclude
programs
welfare
come out
use.
from
And
Blacc.
what we're seeing is a lot of illegal immigrants do find jobs, but they're poor. And so they, and often their children, qualify for these programs.
Steve, it shouldn't be a surprise to us, though. These folks are coming to the country illegally, so they don't have the proper documentation. Many of them don't speak English, and many of them are paid under the table. And the reason why they're paid under the table is because it's cheap labor. Americans wouldn't do those jobs, but they want a fair wage. These people they're on a slave-based labor system where no one reasonable person would take those jobs for that pay, right?
Well, that certainly happens. And just by their presence here, they tend to lower wages because they're increasing the supply of workers at the bottom end of the labor market. However, the difference between what happens when illegal immigrants have work authorization and don't isn't enormous if the illegal immigrant themselves has very modest skills. And that's often very true. So again, yes, it's true that when they work off the book, sometimes they work for less. But it's really the case that they're just very modestly educated. And that's one of the main reasons they use so much welfare. And because they're poor, many states like New York and California step in and cover illegal immigrants with welfare programs too. And that's what we're picking up partly in the study as well. So it isn't just the presence of the children, but it's the political pressure because you have all these poor people in your state.
So Steve, you've been tracking this, and I know you're just a researcher. Do you see any appetite in Congress to get something done? Because there's a magnet. If you're looking at this program or these programs and you're saying, look, 60% of us have a shot of being on this, you'll keep coming to the country.
Right. There has to be some effect for this, right? However, I do think it's fair to say most illegal immigrants come to America not so much to get welfare, but to work, but they have children, they struggle, and then turn to the American taxpayer for support. It's going to be very hard once you've let people in, so many of them with modest education and low income, not to end up having them use these programs because, as is the case, we give automatic citizenship to their U.S.-born children. You either enforce the law and don't have so many illegal immigrants and reduce the problem, or you accept the cost if you're going to be letting a lot of unskilled people into your country.
What a novel idea, Steve. Just enforce the law. I hope they're watching. We appreciate you breaking down the numbers with us.
Thanks for having me.
You got it, Steve.
Well, y'all, these migrants are not the only ones that had tons of money poured on them. Remember, they brought people over from Afghanistan. They brought Ukrainians over and they did nothing but pour money on them. Remember, they put them in Airbnbs. Yep. Many of them got placed in locations and didn't even have to pay rent. They could live rent-free. And now you have these folks coming, and these folks are pretty blatant. All right, they're letting you know the man's here and have no intentions on working. They're coming to be taken care of. And now you have these folks coming, and these folks are pretty blatant. All right, they're letting you know they're coming to be taken care of. The vast majority are not working. The vast majority are on all kinds of assistance here and have no intentions on working. You brought in a class of people that are committing crimes. Didn't y'all always say that, oh, well, these immigrants, they contribute to society? Really? These folks are stealing and got crime rings and prostitution rings going. That's contributing to your society? Well, then I guess you'll just believe anything. these folks aren't contributing anything. They're here with their hand out, and they're gonna keep it out. So that's a pretty big number and that's a lot of taxpayer money. I would love to see the numbers that they have spent on Afghanistan, because there's also Russians that came over too, Ukrainians, and now you got all of these people from south of the border. Y'all, they have to pay well into the billions at this point. Had to. And yeah, it's the American dream for them, but it certainly is not for those that were born on the soil. It's definitely not that for us. But you now see who American society prefers to cater to. You know, nobody is telling them to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. Nobody's telling them don't take no handouts. Nobody's telling their sobby stories about my family came here with $1 in their pocket. You know, y'all not around these immigrants telling them not to be on assistance. Don't have anything to say. The only time they want to come around and say these things is to the Black community. And we were never the biggest ones on welfare. I bet you if you look at who's on welfare now, I bet you the white community and these migrants would far outnumber us on welfare. I'm not on welfare, but I know it's not that many on welfare. Y'all greatly exaggerate these things. So, y'all, isn't that amazing? And nobody is even looking at, when was the last time we heard a Brett Favre story? You know, he down there stealing welfare funds. And, you know, we don't even hear about that story anymore. It's like it's gotten buried. If we don't go looking for it, then we won't know anything about it. You know, here you got this multi-millionaire who made more money than the average person alive, and he's got to steal money for welfare funds to build a volleyball stadium. So, y'all, you're going to have to tell me what you think about these migrants, more than 60% coming over and going on welfare, and not a peep out of the same people complaining about reparations. They seem to be very silent about all of this stuff going on. It's just amazing. Where's Karen? Where's Darren? Where's your cops that are just eyeballing for us just to walk up and stop us randomly? Where's the police dogs? I mean, come on, you don't have none of that stuff. And these folks got crime rings and committing crimes on a regular basis all across America. Boy, it is really out in all of you. It really is. It's really revealing the real truth about this society. Please leave your comment.
Please do the same for Frontline Black News and the Revolutionary Agenda. All right, Black family, so I'm going to end it here. Thank y'all for tuning in to Season 3, Episode 43, Part 3, or Part 3. We will be back later on for Spark's Black Experience Enhanced on Blog Talk Radio and on StreamYard. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. In the meantime, make sure y'all like and subscribe to all our platforms, Frontline Black News, the Revolutionary Agenda, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Frontline Black News on YouTube and Facebook, the Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook, and Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter, now X. So, peace, love, light, reparations, and separations, and Black empowerment. We are at war, Black family. We've been telling you for a number of years. And now it's very blatant and apparent who is being prioritized, who is being put on the front burner, and who is not. And it's very evident that we are not being prioritized. We are not being put on the front burner. But yet these Democrats, it's happening in these Democratic states and cities, So it says Denver, Colorado, Chicago, Illinois, New York City, New York, and others. This is a result of voting blue no matter who. So y'all can continue to stay on the Democratic plantation, or you can wake the hell up and realize that you're not getting nothing tangible for your vote. You're being taken for granted. And it's election season, so these months they're gonna be coming out full stop trying to get you to stay on the Democratic plantation. Here on Frontline Black News, Frontline Campaign, we're not telling you who to vote for. We're just saying if you're going to vote, demand something tangible for your vote. So all the way up to 2100. So like I said, peace, love, light, reparations, and separations of Black empowerment. We will see y'all later on for Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced. Peace. And keep Lady Che in y'all thoughts and prayers.